Welcome to the Simply Mindful Wellness Podcast. Join your host, Tracy, the Mindful Wellness Coach, as she takes a deeper look into nourishing your body, mind, and soul. Because being well creates the freedom to live life the way you want.
Thank you for joining us today, Melinda. To our listeners, this is Melinda. She's an amazing energy practitioner from over in the US. And I've been kind of following your journey a little bit online, although we've never actually met in person. We have a lot of mutual friends within the practitioner community. And I've been following your journey, kind of met you through the ANF therapists that we're both kind of mutually friends with. I love your macrame that you have on the wall in your office. Absolutely yes. Love that. And I know that you kind of moved around. Oh, it's there. Oh, amazing. I know you've kind of moved around a little bit, and I love seeing your little doggy as well that you have up there. So yeah, I just wanted to find out a little bit more about you, really, for the listeners, and how you bring wellness into the world. So can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do and how you do it?
Sure. I'm Melinda Loo. I am a wellness practitioner, and under that very generic term, I have practiced massage therapy, I've taught yoga, I've been a health coach, I've been a business mentor for massage therapists, and I kind of call myself a wellness enthusiast. I'd say, this whole last 20 years has really been mostly a journey for my own personal and spiritual development and learning about health and healing. And then, of course, when you become a practitioner and you make it your life's work, it allows you to go a lot deeper, and it allows you to devote really almost all of your time and energy to learning and growing and just going so deep and down this rabbit hole that's, endless. So yeah, I would say for the last 20 years, I've mostly been known as a massage therapist and a body worker. And so I would say, all the years that I put my hands on people's bodies and helping people to relax, helping people to heal, helping people open up fascia patterns, moving energy, and just really observing, that whole process of what happens during a session. It changes you as a person, and I feel like it has made me a better person, and it has made me a better practitioner. It has made me more almost addicted to the healing process. It's like you become addicted to it. It's like you can't, every time you get into a flow state, or every time you kind of train yourself to get these sort of God shots, if you will, or these peak moments, it's addicting, so I would say that's kind of been my interest and my intrigue as a practitioner, and learning, working with myself, working with others. And then fast forward to 2020, that was such a huge shock to the system, right? Just what happened in the world. And I had my business closed down for 3 months, and just kind of really processing everything that was changing so rapidly in the world, and in terms of changing people's mindset, or how people were changing their understanding of wellness, and the narrative that we were being told about being afraid of each other. And it was so crazy. I feel like I never want to forget that year. I don't think we could ever forget it, but it really shifted me personally into changing my thoughts around how I'm going to practice. And it brought up new concerns. Modern day problems need modern day solutions. And I would say, even before 2020, I was starting to get interested in frequency therapies. I had a biomat on the table, infrared heat therapy, and then I was doing ANF, and I only went through 2 levels before 2020. I think I went through ANF level 2 before March 2020, and so then everything kind of got knocked. I kind of stopped practicing ANF because I was just trying to figure out what to do with 2020. But those were my interests already, and kind of bringing in new frequency therapies and learning about Rife machines. I had tried scalar waves. I had tried all these sort of underground esoteric healing technologies. And then the problems that I was learning about during 2020 was the rollout of 5G, which was on my radar even before 2020, but I knew that there were, things online showing how they're rolling it out and how it's a new concern for our health. So I was concerned about that. And then I'd say last year, this time, they had just rolled out the experimental shots, right? And it was like, people were getting them in large scale. And I had heard of friends, massage therapists, who were having shedding side effects. And that was a new thing I had never heard about. These were new problems. And so I was concerned. And plus, there's already problems we had already had issues with in terms of like what's in the soil, what's in the air, what are we being sprayed with. And so my interest in learning about problems that were affecting our health were what are solutions to these problems, right? And I always encourage people to really learn about the problems. Like these are real problems for human health. It's preventing us all from healing. It's really wreaking havoc. And a lot of people don't know about these problems, or they're not willing to talk about it, but we have to because it's affecting our health, and we can't ignore these things. So, but I also know that with every problem, the amazing ingenuity of humans who are focused on health and healing will come up with solutions. And all we have to do is find these people, find their products, find their, research and their data and their science and everything there are already solutions to problems, is what I'm saying. Even no matter how crazy and daunting these problems are that we're faced with that are new challenges. And that's how I feel. I feel like I have a strong survival drive and I have a strong desire to continuously heal and grow. And so that's why I personally resonate with the idea of learning about the problems and then finding the solutions. So then that's when I got real serious about bioresonance scanning last spring, because I wanted to know, not only could I treat myself with frequencies and healing modalities, but I kind of wanted to know the information of what is affecting me. In other words, if I am being exposed to whatever I'm being sprayed with in the air, or whatever towers are going up, or whatever shedding side effects from these experimental shots, like, is it actually affecting me? How do I know? How can I know? And so that's when I learned that there's these scanning devices that can read our energy field and tell us if we have been exposed to those things, and also a whole host of other things like parasites, viruses, bacteria, mold, fungus, chemicals, pesticides. Also, am I mineral deficient? Am I vitamin deficient? What are my hormones like? And so it just kind of filled in the gap for me in terms of what is actually happening in my field. And then can I, create a lifestyle or routine, or bring in other modalities to help heal or correct these imbalances in a more specific way versus generic, right? So now that I had the information from the scanning, then I could take very specific actions to correct. And that's also when, for me, I became interested as a practitioner to move my business in this direction of bioresonance scanning, frequency therapies. And I feel like these things are also empowering. It gives us more ability to take our power in our own hands and be sovereign individuals and not rely on outside sources as much to, manage our own health and healing. So I love medical freedom was a big thing too, obviously in the last 2 years, which is why I moved from Connecticut to Tennessee. I just knew that medical freedom was already kind of going downhill in Connecticut anyways. And Tennessee has always been kind of known as a freedom-minded state. And it really still is. Honestly, a lot of the medical freedom community all around the United States is moving to Tennessee, Texas, Florida, the Mountain West. So there's a lot of Californians coming here. There's a lot of people from the Northeast and Chicago because they felt like the laws in their states were not friendly towards medical freedom. So, I'm all about what can we do to manage our own health and wellness, and honestly taking advantage of these healing technologies is, I think, these modern solutions to modern day problems, that it's really filling in the holes of what we're missing. And I think it's going to be really honestly mainstream in the next 5 years or so. We're right at the beginning of it being mainstream. It used to be esoteric, kind of like only in weird doctors' offices, it was like secret or very expensive. And now a lot of these things are just becoming brought to the mainstream, where it's going to become kind of commonplace for people to use these technologies in their everyday life.
Oh, wow, it sounds like an amazing journey that you've been on, and for sure the last couple of years have been, eye-opening for an awful lot of people, and a lot of things have come to light, certainly. So I think with you, like you were saying about using like your scanner machine and frequencies and so on, we heal from within, as we know, and it's just about kind of developing that within us. And with things becoming more mainstream, it becomes so much more accessible for people. And with people like yourself that are putting all that information out there and saying, look, hello, I can help you. It's different, but it's becoming more acknowledged and more accepted. And people I feel now are searching for different solutions to their problems. So by being like yourself, you're saying solutions focused, and changing what you were doing. So you're going from your hands-on body working stuff to actually being a little bit more hands-off, but getting more data, if you like, and being able to kind of monitor it in that way. A lot of people like that. A lot of people like to have the numbers and so on. So it's a bit more, you can manage it. So it's less about searching for things. It's more about, okay, we can use these frequencies to find out, and then we can use these frequencies to help, is my kind of take on what you're doing. So that sounds awesome. So how did you come about? What inspires you to get into kind of the frequency sort of world? Then obviously we had the last couple of years, but way before that, I think you mentioned that you were involved in this. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was very, very fortunate to kind of be taken under the wing of very high level healers, just advanced level energy healers. And so really that was my first experience with energy healing, where people who did the inner work and honestly awakened and evolved their like superhuman powers. And I saw throughout my time, I had studied under them intensely for 5 years in their wellness center. And I saw miracles all the time with miraculous healings. And so to me, my first, and I just want to emphasize this, I love healing technology, but because I have this experience with these people, I know that the awakened human is probably the highest technology there is, like that we should all really strive to do this inner work, that we have these abilities. That's how we're designed. I love that healing technology gives us kind of a bridge, or like can help us, support us on our journey while we're on this process of developing our own gifts and awakening our inner powers. So some people are just kind of starting as beginners, and I think that these technologies help. And I would say for myself, I want to do both. I want to develop my own abilities, which I have, I still practice. I still put my hands on people. A very select clientele, though. It's like a very, I'm very particular who I work with at this point and put my hands on. But I like the combination of like, while I'm doing my own inner work, and I know that potential exists in myself to do this healing work, also to be intuitive and like maybe even medically intuitive, or have some insight that comes up. While I'm in the process of developing, I like to kind of rely on some technology to fill in where I'm not developed yet. So that's where I like this idea of bringing in outside technology to kind of bolster us and boost us along our way. I had first started with the biomat. I mean, that was such an easy addition to a massage practice, because I also was in Connecticut, where it's so cold in the winter. And when I added the biomat, it's an amethyst infrared heat mat. I just noticed it made such a big difference in my clients on the table, in terms of they would go into that deep meditative state like right away. and their bodies were so open, receptive. It made it easier for me as a body worker to work with people who were relaxed and open and in a meditative state. So I said, okay, this is really adding value to my practice. And then I kind of became obsessed with adding value. And I added like some EMF harmonizers and sound healing, and then this bioresonance device with scanning. And so to me, I'm always trying to one up myself also. I mean, I actually was known for a while as the 6-figure massage therapist because I was earning in the top really 2% in the country in private practice. So I was also very ambitious and success driven. And I just knew that getting client results was really how you become successful and how you charge the most and how you earn the most. So the more value I could add to a session, the more the client would get an amazing result that, no, they couldn't go anywhere else for that kind of experience. And so that was just like it started with my own abilities. And then I would just add on top of that, more and more healing technology, more and more, value, if you will. So that was kind of how that started with me becoming obsessed with healing technology. And like I said, I always like to tell massage therapists, while I'm adding all these bells and whistles, I still feel super confident if you take all the bells and whistles away and it's just me and my connection, with source or God and my heart and my hands. But like I said, why not just add more value? If I can add to the experience, it's like they're getting a multi-modality treatment from myself and all these technologies. And it was just, I wanted people to feel like they would get off the table like blissed out, like they were just like in a psychedelic experience or something. I really wanted people to feel like so amazing and transformed even after one session. And so I said it's kind of an obsession. But personally, I'm also obsessed with my health. And like I said, I know the more I go down these rabbit holes learning about problems, the scarier it gets. Like if you really know all of the harmful things that are affecting us, it's a lot and it's scary and it's daunting. And I can only be so depressed and angry about it for so long, like I said. So then I became obsessed. I know there's humans with solutions out there. I know there's technology and there are even healers. And my intention is to try and do the inner work, but also be prepared outside, if that makes sense. Like we're going into more challenging times, right? It looks like the next whatever is on the agenda is coming up soon. And I want to be prepared outwardly. Like I want to have tools and resources and be ready for any scenario. I think 2020 taught me that anyways, like anything could happen at any moment. And it's better to be prepared for any kind of scenario. Whether it's an emergency or whether it's a health crisis of some kind, I want to kind of have my tools and my resources and my things around me so I can be ready, but also doing the inner work, deepening my connection, continuing to evolve, continuing to be, more in light and love. And that is my sort of takeaway tip actually of like the mindset, right? Like let's do everything we can to really thrive during this time versus get washed away in the undertow. It's so polarizing. I feel like people are either like rapidly descending and devolving and going into mental illness and, drug addiction and what have you. And then the people are also kind of rapidly awakening and deepening their connection with God or source and getting real serious about their health and their healing and just why are we here during this time, like what are we doing here?
Oh, for sure. I think it's a period of extremes that we're certainly kind of entering into for sure. And it's really interesting what you were saying about doing the inner work first and not becoming reliant upon this technology. Yes, it's amazing to have it there, but by having the knowledge and the inner work done, it's like you're saying, it's almost adding value, it's adding to your skill set, and it's like a backup, if you like. It's reaffirming what you would already know or what you would do anyway, and it's just like an additional tool in your toolbox. But working with frequencies is just like the most amazing thing, and like, as you say, it's becoming more and more mainstream, which fills me with so much joy, because for years and years and years mentioning these things, everyone's like, whoa, what is she talking about? And I'm sure you probably feel the same with some of your clients as well. But then after a while, it's the clients that gravitate towards you, the ones that have sought you out, as opposed to you needing to go and source them. So can you tell me about maybe a patient or a client that you've had that's particularly changed something that you do, or you've had like a light bulb moment, or something that's really warmed your heart and changed your practice?
Oh, so many. If I could maybe just, there's a couple categories I would say, like when I've done bioresonance scanning in particular, when I use the AO scan, there's several different types of bioresonance scanning technologies and tools, but I use AO scan by Solex. It's very user friendly. You just press the button.
You like that?
So there's a group of people that I've worked with that have really struggled with chronic illness, whether it's autoimmune or like a mystery, like they really don't know why they have certain symptoms, and they've been to all the doctors, right? And bioresonance scanning, I first want to explain, it's an energy scanner. So it's picking up things on a very subtle level. Any imbalance starts first on a subtle level, on the energetic level. And if it stays out of balance and continues to get worse, it becomes inflammation. And then if it stays out of balance and continues to get worse, it becomes more physically manifested as disease and illness. And when we do standard testing like blood work or, the tests at the doctors, we're really testing just in that physical level. And it's not easy to pick up the inflammation level or the energy level at all with standard testing. So bioresonance kind of fills in that gap where it will pick up the imbalances on the more subtle levels and giving people some insight that they're missing in standard blood tests. So, picking up things like, for example, endometriosis, like if someone has endometriosis showing up, we call that double red. Red means out of balance, and double red means it was not corrected with frequencies, like it wasn't easily corrected. So then someone may not know that is happening in their body. I think that's actually a common fear, that we're just going to go to the doctor someday and have like a crazy diagnosis of some sort of awful illness that we had no idea about. Obviously, like, we want to rely on our ability to feel into our body and be intuitive, but sometimes we're just missing things. So if we can kind of get a heads up of what's happening, then we could go, I call it the scan before the scan. We could go to the doctor and get testing that we need, because we had a heads up. It wasn't like foreign. And then on the other hand, some people, like one of my clients, she just got diagnosed with babesia and bordetella, which are tick-borne illnesses. And, some of that still is difficult to pick up. And she's had all these chronic infections and things. And depending on which doctors you go to, they might make her sound like she's making it up, that she's crazy, that, nothing is being shown on these tests. And so for her to see her report to show, yes, you do have double reds on babesia and bordetella, and, what other candida, molds and things, parasites, to her, it was validating. Like, I knew these things were wrong with me, and I knew that I was struggling. And I didn't, in other words, it gave her validation and confirmation. Like, I'm not making this up in my head. This is real. I'm not crazy, no matter which doctors she goes to tell that, who would tell her that. So that's one thing, is that sometimes the information can either give you a heads up and give you a clue, like, you need to pay attention to this. This could be serious. Or it's validating and confirming, like, you already knew there was something wrong. Like, it also had picked up on another client of mine, ovarian cyst. And she's like, oh my gosh, I did iridology, where they scan your eye or they read your eye, and ovarian cyst showed up on that. Wow. So I'm like, well, it showed up on that and this, you need to go look at that, because that's giving you a clue. You need to go look at this. And, maybe it's on the inflammation level. Maybe it hasn't materialized into a full blown cyst. We don't know, but it's just giving you more information for empowerment. And then with the frequencies, not the scanning part, the part where I can actually send frequencies broadcast to their energy field. I've had client come in with like sinus pain, and her just like had for a week, like sinus pain, congestion, and I'll send her frequencies specifically for that. And then by the end of the session, it's gone. She can breathe, no pain, plenty of stories like that. Or like I had a client who had Crohn's, like it's subtle, it's not full blown Crohn's, but like sometimes they have like an attack in their digestion, and I sent frequencies for that, and within like 10 minutes it had subsided and they were fine. So yeah, just I said story after story like that.
But I think one of the good things about your scanner is that you don't even need to be with them.
Right. So yes. Okay. Bioresonance scanning, most of it can be done remotely. And, kind of going back to how we have these abilities as humans, like we're designed for healing each other and for sending energy to each other, even distance, right? Distance healers can just think about somebody and send their healing intentions. Well, technology can basically mimic that and do the same thing. So all I have to do is enter someone's profile information, which is their name, height, weight, birth date, their picture, and their voice. This particular software really captures their voice. And it's like your thumbprint. It's like your energy signature. It's your unique voice. It's your unique information. And then it can target your energy field, scan your field, and broadcast frequencies to your field. And I know it seems like to the layperson who's never heard of these kinds of concepts, like it's magic. It's like, I don't understand how this happens, but this is just where we're at with technology. And, kind of going back to the problems that we're faced with, they have this technology to harm people too. I don't know if you've heard about that. We're not going to go deep in that rabbit hole, but I'm just saying it's not new. Like this has been around for a while. And obviously I feel like we want to be on the offense and send ourselves healing frequencies, because I just think there's so many things affecting us on a harmful level that we may not even be aware of, and even spiritual, things that we may not be aware of. So we can kind of micromanage our energy field now with these frequencies. It's kind of wild.
For sure. I think, like you say, it's about shielding yourself. It's about doing what you can do to thrive, doing what you can do to optimize what you've got, essentially, because there's, every single day we're bombarded by toxins from the environment, from the water, from the air, like everything is trying to kill us. So everything that we can do to try and optimize our body systems, because essentially whatever comes in, our body has to detox.
Yep.
So if we can optimize our systems, then we detox more efficiently. And this is what I love about energy and what we're doing. It's because it's linked to the quantum field. Like you could send these frequencies anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I love that this, like I said, is where we're at today, and that it's in the hands of everyday people. These machines used to be thousands of dollars, big bulky machines, only doctors would buy them. And now they have them in little smartphone devices that they retrofit, and it's like $500. It's very accessible, and I just think it's timely because we need it right now with this era that we're in. Like I said, we're sort of in this area where anything could happen, and they're trying to take our power away and only rely on them for our information about health and what we should do for our health. It's just really perfect timing.
Oh, for sure. So what's the most important thing then that you feel that you've learned in life about kind of healing and wellness? And what was your life like before you learned it? And now what is your life like now you know it?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Are we supposed to sum this up in like 5 minutes?
No, you take all the time you need.
I was raised mainstream. I went to a Western medical doctor. When you're sick, you go and you get pills, pretty much. That was pretty much it. And I grew up on fast food and candy and sugar and junk. I mean, I sometimes joke that I should be an inch taller because I was malnourished. I mean, my parents didn't know any better. It was just like cheap processed food. So I actually had terrible digestive issues, to the point where at age 19, I was chronically constipated. I had recurring urinary tract infections. I was starting to get almost like fibromyalgia symptoms, like weird tingling and numbness in my fascia. And I had dance injuries because I was a dancer in college, like tendinitis. It was like too much for a 19-year-old to be dealing with. And then early signs of depression and anxiety too. So I was just really kind of a mess. And I would go to the doctor and they would give me pills. And I just kind of remember one day I walked in and they said, you're going to need to take these pills for the rest of your life. And I was only 19. And I just remember rebelling against that idea. And just, that's when, we all have these stories. That's when I sort of opened myself up to, there has to be another way. I don't even know what it is, but I'm open to some other answer besides this one. And I think that's when you make a paradigm shift where you take your power out of that Western medicine, genre, and you're open to moving into natural health and healing. And so then I just really opened up. And it's amazing when you make that shift and you make that decision to pull your energy out of there. It's like a whole world opens up, and like people, places, things, and information just starts flooding in, to the point where I did learn how to heal myself. And those healers that I worked with for a while really got me up to speed. So I would also say having people around you who walk their talk and are the living, breathing example of what you want to embody, I mean, is priceless. It's priceless. I also additionally did some training in school as well. But anyway, I just made that permanent shift. But they also, because of their advanced levels of healing, opened me up to the paradigm of energy medicine. And that's another paradigm, moving out of natural medicine. Natural medicine is like diet, supplements, herbs, modalities. And then energy medicine is like, I kind of feel like healing technology is if it's Western medicine, then natural medicine, the frequencies are kind of here. And then there's like spiritual energy healing here, where we have that ability ourselves to not rely on the technology. So I've been kind of making my shift into this paradigm over here with frequencies and energy healing. With that said, there's a time and place for all of these types of medicine and all of these types of healing, and everyone's on a different place in their journey. And we have to kind of make these internal shifts ourselves based on our life. So I'm not saying one thing is right or wrong. That's my transition, moving, from one paradigm to another. And it just, to me, I feel so empowered going into like, how do I feel now? Empowered is the right word. Like, I feel like I can heal from anything, or at least I know that I have the ability to find the solutions, find the people, find the information, find the resources and the tools that I would need to heal from anything, right? And so that just is like, that alleviates so much fear. It alleviates so much anxiety. It alleviates this feeling of like, having to give my power away. I don't have to do that. So that's the difference for me.
Amazing. I mean, imagine if everybody knew this. Imagine if everybody felt so empowered and that they weren't scared. The more and more that we learn, the more and more that we can kind of give to others. And I'm very much like you. I want to add value to the world. But it's the way that the body works is just, we don't know. And well, we don't, do we? Like you were saying, you go to the doctors, it's a pill for every ill. We'll prescribe you this, you take this for the rest of your life, or you get these side effects, then we need to give you this, etc., etc. But actually, we know the body can heal itself if we give it the right environment, and by giving it the frequencies that you can send to people, then it's just stimulating the right circumstance that should be there naturally. Yes,
thank you for saying that. I try to explain to people, an analogy with food and supplements. Like, you wouldn't just live off of supplements. You have to eat food, but it's important to supplement your diet with supplements because of, all the things we're missing in our food. So supplements should be seen as like a support to your nutrition. And the same thing is, you wouldn't just treat yourself with frequencies. Like, you want to live a healthy lifestyle, you want to do your personal spiritual development work, but frequencies are like a supplement. It's like it boosts you, it fills in the holes, it gives you, like an added boost, really. And kind of, like you said, encourages the healing process to take place. So it's just another thing that we can utilize.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you could remove all the barriers, all the constraints on like time, money, etc., how would you want people to know you in the world? Like, what would you want to be known for? Would you want to be like the six-figure massage therapist? Would you want to be like the frequency queen? How would you want to be known?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I aspire to be that fully awakened. I at least want to try. I want to try to awaken my own abilities. And I feel like all the things I'm doing right now are supporting me on this path. So, I mean, being pure of heart, and straightening all crooked paths, as I say. It's just like the spiritual enlightenment journey, is, I feel like, why we're here. The whole point is like soul development, and to continue to free our mind and be in love and share love. That, I would say, is, to me, the only reason why I feel like I'm here. and whatever I can experience and enjoy along the way, life lessons and things. I want to enjoy. I believe in reincarnation. So, like, while I'm here during this lifetime, I'm choosing to believe in that. I want to make as much progress as I can on a soul level. So health and healing myself, health and healing, helping others. That's pretty much the purpose. That's the goal.
For sure. And I think you mentioned earlier, like, stepping into love and light, and that's exactly the experience. And like you say, healing the soul, so that when I believe in reincarnation too. So, and when you're moving into the next life, it's that little bit easier, and you're not having to rediscover or go over these life lessons time and time again, because
right.
you've dealt with them.
Correct.
So if you had to give one tip for improving wellness that people could go and do right now, what would be your biggest tip or your biggest bit of guidance?
I would say kind of what I said earlier, like, allow yourself to learn about problems, the things that are affecting us, and then let yourself gather information. I mean, sometimes that process can be difficult. I mean, navigating information in this day and age is a difficult process, but learning about the problems so that you can find solutions, and then, really try and take your power back, basically, so that you feel that you can handle anything under the sun.
Sure.
Just however that journey plays itself out for you, learn about problems, learn about solutions, and like keep moving forward, keep growing.
Awesome. So we'll just finish off then with the last question. What does wellness mean to you?
Wellness, well, it's to embody being well. And I would say wellness is like that perfect state of homeostasis, perfect balance, just being fully functional, everything operating as it should be, having access to all of our potential and our power and our gifts. So yeah, it's being free of limitations, being free of limiting beliefs, free of illness. It's being truly well on all levels: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Melinda. It's been like a really interesting chat and a great insight into your world and how you deal with today's modern kind of challenges and hit them face on with all your solutions. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Simply Mindful Wellness podcast. Join us next time for a new episode.